Bitcoin was over $106,000 a token. Yesterday, it dropped as low as 76,000 and change. Now, I mean, low is all relative, but it was a 30% drop from where it was about the time that I did that podcast. The high was 109 and change. Didn't quite get to 110, but it's now dropped 30%. But to give you an idea of the magnitude of the decline we've had so far, so just in the last week and 2 days, right? So last week plus 2 days, the Dow is down 3.3%, not that much, but the QQQ is down 7%. The Russell 2000 down 7.3%. Russell 2000 is almost in a bear market. It's down over 17% from its peak. So it's the closest index to a bear market. S&P down 6.4%. But listen to some of these consensus stocks that Trump trade. Tesla is down 21% in 7 days. 21%. Tesla is also an AI stock too, because AI is part of the self-driving and all that stuff. But it was very much part of the Trump trade because, after all, Elon Musk is in the White House. He's practically running the White House, right? And he's got a company. So clearly, if he's got the president in his pocket, that's got to be good for Tesla. And that's why Tesla had such a huge run after Trump won, because it was like a no-brainer, right? I mean, you got to buy Tesla. After all, he's in good with the government, right? Policies are going to favor Tesla. The government's not going to go on a war against Tesla. Kamala Harris, right? They would have investigated Tesla left, right, and center, right? So everybody bought Tesla just like they were buying Nvidia. Well, Nvidia is down 15% in the last 7 days, right? Everybody owned Nvidia, down 15%. Bitcoin is actually not down that much in those 7 days, down about 4.5%. But what's also important is what's up. The dollar index, versus down. The dollar index is down 4%. That's a huge 7-day period for the dollar index to be down 4%. Almost all of that, on Friday. But it was down again today. The dollar index now is at the lowest it's been since October of last year. So all of the Trump-inspired gains have evaporated. And I said that as the dollar was rallying and everybody was saying, oh, the dollar's going to go up because Trump's going to impose tariffs and the tariffs are good for the dollar. And I kept saying, no, they're not. They're not good for the dollar. And now that we actually have the tariffs and they've started, the dollar is tanking. And part of the reason that people thought that, foreigners will pay the tariffs is they said, well, the dollar's going to go up. And so those imports are going to be cheaper because of the currency, and that will offset the tariff because the dollar will be so much stronger that we'll get these products cheaper. Well, what's actually happening is the dollar is going down. And so instead of offsetting some of the pain of the tariffs, it makes the pain worse because now we have to pay higher prices, not just because of the tariffs, but because the dollar's gone down. And these are foreign products where the costs were in foreign currencies. But what went up over the last 7 days are gold stocks. Gold, GDX, the big stocks, up 4.5% in the last 7 days. The GDXJ, the juniors, up 6.6%. So, they've been pulled down. As the market goes down, the stocks go down. Like the gold stocks got clobbered yesterday. They were down like 4%, but they made it all back today. Now, they never should have gone it down yesterday. Talk about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Sure, gold was down about $20, but it was up $30 today, $35. But even though it was down, it barely went below 2,900. And, I'm watching on CNBC this morning. Gold is already right back above 2,900. It's like 2,910. And they don't even mention that, right? Gold's up $25, $30. Don't even mention it. All they do is say, well, Bitcoin is back above 80,000. I mean, so what? So what? I mean, the fact that gold is holding above 2,900 is far more significant than Bitcoin having a dead cat bounce back up above 80,000. It rallied today along with, some of these crypto stocks. But again, I think it was just a reversal rally. And I think it's just going to get killed from here, because the main thing that was driving Bitcoin was the strategic reserve. And now that's done. I mean, we got the reserve, right? It's the same crypto they already had. What's in the reserve is what the government already has. What they need is buying. And that's why MicroStrategy came out on Monday, the same day that their stock got killed by like 20%. It was one of the biggest down days I can recall in MicroStrategy stock. Now it was up, big today. I think it was up 9% today, but it's down 28% in the last 7 days. Almost all of that was yesterday, right? But yesterday, MicroStrategy announced that they're going to buy another 21 billion, another 21 billion of Bitcoin. And they're going to sell their stock to pay for it. I don't think they're going to be able to get that done. I think the stock is going to go below the value. Right now, it's still trading at about an 18% premium, but that's a much lower premium than what it used to trade at relative to its Bitcoin. But the way Saylor is able to get a positive Bitcoin yield, right, the way he describes it, is he sells his stock at a premium to the value of the Bitcoin, then he takes the money and buys Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin per share goes up. Now also the shares outstanding goes up, so the company's being diluted, and when they borrow the money to do it, the debt per share goes up, but he doesn't care about that, right? He just focuses on this one Bitcoin yield. But once the price of stock, MicroStrategy, trades at a discount to its Bitcoin, which it will, then that's MicroStrategy is out of the Bitcoin buying business, because then if it buys any Bitcoin, it will produce a negative Bitcoin yield, and that will probably really unravel the company. So, but I think MicroStrategy's plan, the greater fool for MicroStrategy was going to be the U.S. taxpayer. But Trump said, no, the taxpayer's not buying any more Bitcoin. We're not going to sell the Bitcoin we have, which is they should get rid of it. That would be a favor to the taxpayer. But he said they're going to hold on to it, but they're not going to buy. And MicroStrategy is going to buy. But look at how much the market has gone down since that podcast that I did on January 27th, because when I did that, the dollar index was at 107.5, and now it's barely holding on to 104. As I said, Bitcoin is 106. Now it's like 82, something like that. The Nasdaq's down 8.3%. The Russell 2000 down 11%. But look at the big consensus stocks since that podcast. Nvidia down 10%, and Tesla down 42%. 42% on Tesla since January 27th. Oh, MicroStrategy is down 28%. So that's not the last 7 days. MicroStrategy is down 28% since my January 27th podcast. But the GDX is up 11%, and the GDXJ is up 12.25%. Now, you wouldn't know that, right? If you just watch CNBC, you would have no idea that this is going on. Like the gold stocks are performing like this. And, the foreign stocks continue to go up, right? The German market, the French market, the Spanish market, the Switzerland, Hong Kong, China, right? The foreign markets are going up. And I'm listening on CNBC and they're making fun of it. They're like, what is this? This is crazy. Why are these stocks going up? The thing is, the valuations in Europe and in Asia are a fraction of the valuations here. I mean, we're priced for perfection, and we're not going to get it. And, one of the reasons that I, was talking about the consensus trade unraveling in January 27th, one of the reasons I thought that was the peak, and I think that might have been the peak. I don't know if the Dow might have made the record high, and the S&P that week, that might have been the actual top, I think, and we've just gone down. It's just that it's been accelerating recently. But it was just a euphoria because everybody loaded up on U.S. stocks. Everybody loaded up on the U.S. dollar, and everybody loaded up on Bitcoin and other cryptos. Why did they do that? Well, because Trump was going to make America great again, right? It was America first, so you better buy American stocks, right? This is going to be great. It's going to be a boom in America. We finally have a business-friendly president, and we're going to have pro-business policies. So that's good for the stock market. Now, people didn't look at the fact that the stock market was already very expensive. They just bought it anyway. And they just bought into the idea, oh, this is great for the dollar. Tariffs are going to be good for the dollar. Trump's economic policy. Some people even said that we're going to have more economic growth under Trump. So we're going to have higher interest rates because of the stronger economy, and that's going to be good for the dollar. And they even thought we'd have a little bit more inflation, which they thought was good for the dollar. So they thought everything was good for the dollar, so everybody bought the dollar. And of course, everybody had to buy Bitcoin because we had the first Bitcoin president. We were going to have a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And the other nonsense they were saying is it's going to be like a race, like an arms race. Like once the U.S. starts buying Bitcoin, well, then every country is going to want to buy it. It's going to be, a race to see which country can get the most Bitcoin. I mean, that's the race that you want to lose, right? Because whatever country has the least Bitcoin wins, right? Whoever has the most loses because you blow money buying nothing. But if the U.S. government's not going to buy any Bitcoin, then why is anybody else? And I never believed that other countries would be dumb enough to buy Bitcoin just because we did it. We would only do it because we were paid off. Our politicians got paid off by the crypto lobby. Well, the biggest crypto lobby is in the United States. It's unfortunate, but I don't know the exact numbers, but Americans own more Bitcoin, right, than anybody else, right? So we've got the lion's share of this bubble. So when the Bitcoin and crypto bubble pops, where it does the most harm is in the United States. But nobody thought Bitcoin had anywhere to go but down because after all, it got, up to 100,000. We had, enemies. The government was stifling it. The government was regulating it and suffocating it. And now it was going to be freed from all this regulation. And so if Bitcoin did so well when the government was against it, well, just imagine how much better it's going to do now that the government is behind it, right? So there was so much positivity in Bitcoin. I was like, well, it can only go down. I mean, there's no room to go when there's so much optimism, right? What can happen, right? What good could possibly happen when everything that can possibly happen that's good is already factored into the price, right? So you're primed for somebody to be disappointed, some news to happen that's not perfect, and the market tanks. So it's happening to crypto. It's happening to the momentum stocks, the consensus, AI, and all these overpriced stocks coming down. The dollar is coming down. The entire Trump trade is reversing, and it's playing out the way I believed it would, in favor of foreign markets, commodities, gold mining stocks, the opposite of what people expected. And again, I mentioned on this podcast, it was very frustrating to me personally, but we had a huge outflow of money from our mutual funds, the Euro Pacific family of funds, after Trump won through the end of the year and early this year through January, February, more than we've ever seen in the history of the funds. A lot of people closed accounts, and they did that to buy into U.S. stocks. People said, I'm not worried now. We're going to pay down the debt. The problems are solved. Trump's going to make America great again. I don't want to invest abroad. I'm going to buy U.S. stocks. And the absolute worst thing you could have done, because not only did you buy into the peak of an overvalued U.S. market, and you're already down considerably, but you've missed out on the rise in the foreign stocks, in gold stocks. And it's just getting started. This is not a short-term blip. I think this trend is going to continue and accelerate for the rest of this decade and probably beyond.